ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतः पदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमः। ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। We will recite the invocation prayers for Srimad Bhagavatam. Our obeisances to Sri Shukadev Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj, and Sri Suta Goswami and Shaunakadi Rishis. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam Namaskritya
Narang Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva
Uttamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswati Vyasam
Tato Jayamudirayet
Tato
Jayatire
Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu
Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya
Bhagavatyuttama Shloke
Bhagavati Shloke
Tirbhavati Naishtiki
Bhakti Nashtiki
Krishnaya Vasudevaya
Krishnaya Vasudevaya
Devaki Nandanaya Cha
Devaki Nandanaya Cha
Nandagopakumaraya
Nanda Gopakumaraya
Govindaya Namo Namaha.
Govindaya Namo Namaha.
So we will begin today's discussion. Quick recap of where we were. So we are still on this chapter of 10.78, Dantavakra. But we are going much deeper into many separate topics. And mainly, so today I'm hoping will be the last session on this topic. We'll start something new. I think next week is Rath Yatra. Then there is Maha Cleaning and Janmashtami and all these things. So we may have a little bit of a gap. But we'll complete or conclude this topic today. There is a lot of things to discuss. So anyway, we started with the pastime of Dantavakra, killing of Dantavakra. But the main reason why I picked this pastime was because after the killing of Dantavakra, Sri Krishna goes to Vrindavan. And then there is, but that is not mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, but that's a very satisfying, very sweet pastime that occurs. And it is heavily commented upon by our acharyas in various places, obviously sourcing from Sri Padma Purana and many other places. So, and then there is the whole pastime of Sri Romaharṣaṇa's death, and that we had covered in summary in the very first part of the series. So that is, we'll leave it there. Yeah, so we covered a lot of things about the separation and union of Sri Krishna with the Vrajvasis. So that has been sort of the main topic of discussion over all these weeks. And much of the pastimes of Sri Krishna after he leaves Vrindavan are the intent of those pastimes, as we will see today, is to increase one's absorption in Sri Krishna by the means of separation. So that is the sort of largely the focus of the discussion. And we can all feel or realize that separation increases our love and increases our absorption. Many times we feel the person's value when he's or she is not there, whether it is temporary separation or permanent separation. So that is the topic. So we had discussed these things, and yeah, so we went into the topic of separation felt by the Gopis, absorption of the Gopis, and the hidden meaning behind in the Kurukshetra lila, when the Gopis say, we would like you to, or we are the household ladies. The meaning was that we would like to see you in that village form. While we are not queens, though from a Siddhanta or a philosophical standpoint, the position of the Gopis is much higher than the queens. But they want to see Sri Krishna in the village form. And we discussed the reasons for that. We went through some of these Padyavali verses and so on. So we will start from here today. What is being shared? Are you seeing the slides?
Several questions arise for this slide, probably.
This slide, okay, very good. So we discussed several questions that sort of arise in the minds of the devotees as they are reading this pastime. And today we will go into these other questions which are remaining. So we discussed as last week as to why do the Gopis desire to see Krishna in Vraj only, and why do they at all desire to see Krishna directly, not in their minds. So some of those are related, but we will go into this whole understanding which will form the foundation of the union of the Gopis and Sri Krishna. And this is very important for devotees because we are also trying to unite with Sri Krishna. unite as in to serve him, to be with him. How many of us are feeling separation from Sri Krishna right now? I don't feel separation. When my kids are away, then I feel separation. Oh, where are they? Look them up on, did they send any message? Where are they? What are they doing? So many things. We feel separation from our loved ones. The goal is to build the same kind of love for Sri Krishna so that we can long for him and unite with him one day when we go back to the spiritual world. So many of these topics are relevant from that standpoint. So first thing is, who is Sri Krishna? So let me just pull out my notes here. So just from a basic standpoint, many people think that who is Sri Krishna? So we know, we have heard this verse, Swayam Bhagavan. But we have also seen in chapter 1 of the 10th canto, the devatas, the demigods, go and pray to whom? They go and pray to Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, or Brahmaji goes and prays to Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. So does Brahmaji not know that Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan? Why did he not go and pray to Krishna? Why to Vishnu? So maybe Krishna is this is also a commonly accepted understanding that Krishna is avatar of Vishnu, incarnation of Vishnu. So is he a portion of Vishnu? And I have also mentioned Bhagavatam verses here where the devotees are glorifying Sri Krishna as none other than either Vishnu or Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, as Paramatma. Brahmaji in the 10th canto, 14th chapter refers to him as Paramatma. This is Jambavant, 56th chapter, when Sri Krishna meets Jambavant from Ram Lila, and he obviously glorifies Sri Krishna by saying that you are no different from Sri Ram. And in the 11th canto, he is glorified as Vaman Dev. So who is Sri Krishna? There are so many glorifications that are present. So the answer is that Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan, or he is that Supreme Lord from whom all incarnations emanate or manifest. So this 1.3.28, I don't think I have put the verse here, but we all know that, so we can recite. Ete chamsha kalapumsha Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Mridayanti Yuge Yuge. So this verse, I should have put it here so that it could have been visually in front of your eyes. But this is in the 3rd chapter of the 1st canto as a response to one of the questions of the rishis, the Shaunaka and other rishis, to Sri Suta Goswami as to asking who is Sri Krishna and what are his various incarnations. So this 3rd chapter is the answer to that question. And first 27 verses are describing all the various incarnations of the Lord, including Rama, Narsingha, Vamana, Buddha, Kalki is also mentioned. So all the Dashavatars are mentioned, plus 12 more are mentioned. Now in the Dashavatars, Krishna is not there. Balaramji is mentioned as the 8th in that sequence, not Krishna. Then comes this verse, that Ete cha amsha kalapumsha. that ete means all these. All these means all the previous ones. The previous 27 verses are the amsha and kalas, means the portions. Portions and portions of portions. You can say, you can think of like two hierarchies, two levels, level A, level B. We can go sometime later into the details of what is the specific difference between amsha and kala. Think of it like level A, level B. And these are all the incarnations or amsha, we can just say the category as amsha or avatar of Krishna. Krishna stu Bhagavan Swayam. Tu means what? In all the Bhagavad Gita students, tu means very important word.
But
But. So some of these words you have to remember. Tasmat, ataha, tu. Wherever in a verse these words come, it means it's an important verse. Tasmat means therefore. So after several verses, it will be one conclusive verse which will state, therefore, here is the, you can like, the rest of it was mainly a explanation, but here is the conclusion, tasmat. Tu means but. But means what? Maybe some aspect has been explained, but there is some kind of a clause, exception, or some other new aspect is being introduced, which is the more or less the opposite of what has been explained so far. That's how we use but, you know. Yeah, he's a very nice guy, but, you know. So that's how we use but. And then all the, you say all the things. So tu means but. Krishna tu Bhagavan Swayam. So these are all the amshas and kalas, but the original Swayam Bhagavan is Krishna. That is the significance of that verse 1.3.28, and it is known as the Mula verse, the root verse of the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. Because on that verse, the basis of that verse, the entire Srimad Bhagavatam opens up and establishes, or one needs to, Bhagavatam establishes that, but the main focus of the Bhagavatam is to show and have the devotees to relish the supremacy of Sri Krishna. So, Krishna stu Bhagavan Swayam. Then the next two lines are Indrari Vyakulam Lokam, Mridayanti Yuge Yuge, that whenever his devotees like Indra, etc., fall in trouble, he comes and rescues them. Sometimes Indra is the bad guy, like in Govardhan Lila, but many times he is the one who is the victim, like Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj had driven away Indra. That's why Vaman Dev had to come and re-establish the position of the Devatas. And so many other times when the Asuras take over the Devatas and the king of Devatas is Indra, Mridayanti Yuge Yuge. I come and rescue Indra. So that is the protector nature or the aspect of Sri Krishna has been described there. Okay. So the point is, Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan. Who is Sri Krishna? Swayam Bhagavan. And all the incarnations, very important point, when Krishna appears, all the incarnations enter into him. So there is a story in the Harivamsa Purana that at one time there was a demon who stole a jewel belonging to Sri Krishna, to not Sri Krishna, Sri Vishnu. And then Garuda ran behind him to get back that jewel. And then he got back the jewel and wanted to come and give it back to Sri Vishnu. When he came back to Vaikuntha Lok, he saw Vishnuji is not there. And that is because at that time, Bhagwan Krishna had appeared on the earth planet. And so he was even Lord Vishnu from the Vaikuntha Lok had merged or entered into Sri Krishna. So all the incarnations enter into Sri Krishna when he appears. And therefore, all the above statements are true. Okay? All the above statements are true. So one can say that, yes, he is Sri Ram, he is Vaman Dev, he is Vishnu, he is Paramatma, and so on. So this is the explanation given by Sri Jiva Goswami. I am not manufacturing this. This is directly from Sri Jiva Goswami in Krishna Sandarbha. Now, one of the questions, again, it's out of scope for today, but Krishna's incarnation in material world is a continuous process. It happens from one universe to another to another. So all the incarnations are always present in Krishna's body. Okay, so there's no time factor here that, okay, from time T1 to T2, they are here and then they go back to their own abode. That is also true. But Krishna's, they are also, all incarnations are present always in Krishna's body. Okay, so that is one point to understand. So basically, the point to be understood is Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. And it is not wrong to say that Krishna is Ram, Vaman, etc. And also it depends on the mood and the devotion of a particular devotee. If he wants to see Ram in Krishna, that's totally fine because Ram is present in Krishna's body. Okay, so no problem in that. And that is why when Jambavan saw Sri Krishna, he saw Ram in Sri Krishna. Now, going to the other topic, who are the Gopis? I did not put the verse number, but this is from the prayers of Brahmaji in the 14th chapter. So, Brahmaji is one second. No. Yeah, this is not Brahmaji, this is Uddhavji. Uddhavji in the 47th chapter, when he hears the position of the, when he understands the position of the Gopis, what he speaks about the Gopis. So it's important to understand the position of the Gopis as well, because then we will understand the lila that occurs between Krishna and the Gopis. And the goal is again to build it all up to union and separation. So that is where we are, that's the topic of discussion. And these are nice points to understand. So we can recite this verse. This is in Vasanta Tilakam meter, same as Brahma Samhita, and 14 syllables. So you can, here in the room, we have some devotees. We can follow in the room. On the Zoom, we can stay muted. Or you can recite, but in mute. Okay. Yam Shriyongata Utantantarate Prasadaha. Lead, follow. Follow. Lead and follow. Shriyongana Utantantarate Prasadaha. Yoshitam Nalina Gandha Rucham Kutonya. Rucham Kutonya Rasotsavesya Bhujadanda Grihita Kantha Rasotsavesya Bhujadanda Grihita Kantha Labdha Shihamta Udagad Vrajavallabhinam Labdha Shishamya Udagad Vrajavallabhinam. So when Lord Sri Krishna was dancing with the gopis in the Ras Leela, the gopis were embraced by the arms of the Lord. This transcendental favor was never bestowed upon the goddess of fortune, which is Sri Lakshmi. So Sri Uddhav ji is drawing some kind of a comparison between Sri Lakshmi ji and the gopis, that some kind of favor, which is what? To be embraced by the anga or the arms of Sri Krishna was not available even to Sri Lakshmi. Indeed, never was such a thing even imagined by the most beautiful girls in the heavenly planets. So when Sri Lakshmi ji is not getting, what to speak of the girls of heavenly planets, which means Swarga, whose bodily luster and aroma resemble the lotus flower. And what to speak of the worldly women who are very beautiful according to the material estimation. So again, hierarchy is being shown, and of course Sri Lakshmi ji is at the very top, but the gopis are even more superior to the to Mother Lakshmi. So here we can see the position of the gopis who are. Then another verse we can recite. This one also is in Vasanta Tilakam, same meter. So lead and follow. Okay. So I will recite. Asamaho charana renu jushamaham syam. Vrindavane kimapi gulmalataushadhinam. Ya dustyajam swajanamarya patham chahitva. Bhuje mukunda padavim shrutibhirvimigram. So the position of the gopis is so high that what does Uddhav ji desire for? Uddhav ji wants to be a blade of grass in Vrindavan so that the dust from the feet of the gopis can be received by him. So he is Asam Aho Charana Renu Jusham Aham Syam. So I desire to receive the Charana Renu of these ladies. Who are the ladies? This is the next verse from the, I should have put the numbers, I'm sorry. So these are the gopis. So the translation is, the gopis of Vrindavan have given up, and the reason is why? Because they have given up everything. And this we discussed in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu as to the position of the gopis. Have given up their association of their husbands, sons, and other family members who are very difficult to give up. So some devotees give that up too, but what is said next? And they have forsaken the path of chastity to take shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda. So they have given up everything. They have kept or held back nothing for themselves. And that is what makes them the highest devotees, which one should search for by Vedic knowledge. Oh, let me be fortunate enough to be one of the bushes, creepers, or herbs in Vrindavan, because the gopis trample them and bless them with the dust of their lotus feet. So this is basically showing the position of the gopis. So who are the gopis? They are the topmost associates of Bhagavan, superior even to the goddess of fortune, Sri Lakshmi. They are eternal beings. So one should not think. So one of the questions, I think in the slide was, are the gopis, when they are present in this material world, are they transcendental, eternal, or are they someone like us? And the reason why that question may come up is because they feel so much separation, lamentation. Just like Lord Ram, he was crying for Mother Sita. So the doubt arises in people's mind, oh, I cry for my wife. He was also crying for his wife. What is the difference between him and me? He is also an ordinary human being. If he is Bhagavan, why he needs to cry. So if the gopis are transcendental beings, why they are crying so much for Krishna? Don't they know that Krishna is everywhere? Or such questions may be asked. So we will unpack that. We unpacked that last week a little bit as to why the gopis feel the separation from Sri Krishna. We'll unpack that more today. But the point is that they are not material. That is not the reason why they feel separation. It would be grossly incorrect, in fact, offensive, to think that the gopis have any material emotions or material feelings, just like us. Okay? So they are eternal beings. And we discussed a little bit about Prakat and Aprakat lila. We will discuss that in greater detail today. But the basic understanding is that Prakat lila means one that is manifest, which occurred 5,000 years ago on this planet, in this universe. But Aprakat lila means unmanifest, something like behind the curtain. That lila is always going on all the time, everywhere, every single, so time, place, everywhere in the entire time, space, time, it is going on every single location, all the leelas simultaneously. So that is aprakat, but sometimes the curtain opens and we see the prakat leela. So even in the prakat leela, now obviously the gopis are also there in aprakat. Krishna is not just standing alone. Krishna is there with the gopis in aprakat, unmanifest, behind the curtain also. But when the prakat leela or the manifest leela happens, even in that prakat leela, obviously one can understand Bhagavan is Bhagavan. That we have understood from Bhagavad Gita and so many other places, that Bhagavan appears in his transcendental body. But what about the gopis or the other Vrajvasis? They also appear in their transcendental bodies. That is the point being made. And that is the reason why Uddhavji wants to take birth. Now, Uddhavji is also transcendental. But in Prakat Leela, we will see there is birth and, so to say, appearance, disappearance, or birth, death. We'll unpack that little more. But that is why he wants to appear in the Prakat Leela as a blade of grass, so that in the Prakat Leela, he can receive the dust from the feet of the gopis. Okay. So such is the high position of the gopis that is what is being established. Okay, is that clear? So the point is the gopis are eternal, transcendental, just like Sri Krishna, even in the Prakat Leela, and obviously in Aprakat Leela, Sri Krishna and the associates are transcendental and eternal. All right. Anything?
So Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, they are also.
That's the next bullet. All this transcendental nature applies to all Vrajvasi associates of Sri Krishna as well. Okay. Not only Vrajvasi, even the Yadus, Vasudev, Devaki, all of them. Okay. And also to all the dhams, Vrindavan, Mathura, Dwarka, and the associates of all these dhams. Okay. Yeah. No.
He asked devotees from the heavenly planet to take birth in Vrindavan.
So the devotees or the devatas who take birth, they are not transcendental. They take birth, and we will cover that. There are some material aspects or material people in the Prakat Leela who take birth. So we'll come to that. So then the question comes, why does Krishna perform human-like pastimes? Which means human-like means he also feels separation. He steals, he tells lies, he does all these human-like things. Okay? Typically on the questionable side. Ramji, always on the perfect side, but still human. Felt sad, lamentation, so much, but still these are human traits. Krishna also human traits, but little bit, what can you say? Problematic. Stealing, telling lies, all these things, but still human. You don't expect Bhagwan to cry. You don't expect Bhagwan to tell lies or steal either. But the point is, why do these avatars do such activities? And this, I'm sorry, I didn't put the verse numbers at all. My mistake. So, this is, I believe, from the 14th chapter of the 10th canto, Brahmaji's prayers. Okay. So, we can recite this. This is Anushtup, 8-syllable meter. Okay. Prapancham nishprapanchopi vidambayasi bhutale prapanna janatananda sandoham pratithum prabho. So the translation is, my dear master, although you have nothing to do with material existence, you come to this earth and imitate material life, doing all the material activities which we cannot clearly come to terms with, that Bhagwan can also do them. So you do them, why? Just to expand the varieties of ecstatic enjoyment for your surrendered devotees. Okay. So to expand or to nourish the rasa of the devotees in the lila, as well as devotees who are reading or hearing or meditating on the leelas, for both. So that is the reason why he does that. For the prapanna janata, janta means people, prapanna, but what kind of janta? Those who have surrendered. For their ananda sandoham, for their relishment. For the surrendered devotees' relishment, you do all these human-like pastimes, because there is rasa in them. There is not much rasa if Bhagwan is Bhagwan. Ramayana would have completed in 2 pages. Oh yeah, Sita is in Lanka. Okay, I will. Ramji wills, Ravan dies. From his will, Sita ji comes. 2 lines, Ramayana over. No Jatayu, or she wouldn't even have been kidnapped. And you can go back to, keep going back, and then you'll just say nothing happened. Nothing would have happened. Why Mother Keikei got the thought that Ram should be banished? Everybody is a devotee, so wouldn't have even been banished, or nothing would have happened. So then there would be no Ramayana, no Krishna Lila, no anything. So for the relishment of the devotees, I really should have put the verse numbers for the references. So Prakat versus Aprakat. We had discussed this, but very briefly. Prakat means manifest pastimes. Aprakat means unmanifest pastimes. So all these pastimes that we see, Ramayana, Mahabharata, all the things that we see in the 10th canto, they are all part of Prakat Lila. So let's understand what is Aprakat. That is the one which is not understood well. Prakat, or what are the examples of those? Let's see that. Very nice understanding is there. So Aprakat Leelas are those which are completely unmixed. Now these are the unmanifest Leelas which are occurring at all times, at all places. All the aprakat, there are many aprakat leelas, not one. Many. They are all occurring simultaneously at all times, at all places. Clear? Hard to understand. Very hard to imagine. Okay, but that is what it is. That's how much I understand. Don't ask me all the physics behind it. Cannot explain. Okay, I'm just telling the theory. But what is there is that in these aprakat leelas, it is unmixed with material objects or material people. On the converse, to answer your question, there are material objects and material people in prakat leelas. So aprakat leelas consist of Sri Krishna's continuous activities. It will become more clear, okay? Which means that they are always occurring, continuous. Think of it like which you can draw a picture. How many artists are there here? Some artists are there. You can draw a picture of that. It's like picture in words. All right. So it is always occurring. There is no beginning, no end, which means it is free of time dimension. You can easily draw a picture of such a thing. You cannot draw a picture of time dimension. Then it will have to be a video, not a photo. So a static photo. So it depicts a constant view or a situation. All right. And there is no movement of Sri Krishna. Not that he's like a statue, but he's not moving as such. He's always in a fixed location. Now, again, don't ask me were his eyelids blinking or not, or I can't say whether that is like that, okay? But he's in a fixed context. The context is not moving, okay? Like, for example, there is movement required. He went from Vrindavan to Mathura. So that is clearly a movement. So there is no movement. Krishna is at a fixed location. His devotees are also in a fixed location. And this is suitable for meditation on Sri Krishna. Not to say that aprakat is not suitable, but this is very suitable for meditation on Sri Krishna. And a great example is Brahma Samhita verses. So it's nice to give examples of what is aprakat lila. So we'll recite those verses. All of you must be already knowing them. We'll recite them, but you'll get a sense of what it means, aprakat means. Now, some aspects of prakat leelas that involve some movement are also called aprakat. So it's what my understanding is, it's not like a very clear cut thing that there is no movement, etc. But basically something that you can meditate on or relish in a constant sort of a frame. For example, some movement may be there when Krishna was playing on Putana's chest after killing Putana. That's a very nice meditation for devotees, how he killed Putana and yet granted her the supreme position of being a mother in the spiritual world. Also, like dancing on the hoods of Kaliya serpent. So many pictures have been made about these pastimes. Kaliya pastime with Krishna standing on Kaliya. So many pictures and deities have been made on this. So the technical detail between that is mantra upasana mayi and swarasiki. So basically mantra upasana mayi, which you can focus on in your meditation, or swarasiki means a constant context which you can relish. Just that context, not the whole sequence of pastime, but just that picture in your mind you can relish. Okay. So let's get the examples of some very specific examples of aprakat lila from Sri Brahma Samhita. So we'll recite these three beautiful verses, 29 to 31. We can do it together. Everybody knows these verses more or less. You must have sung it many times. Okay. So we'll do it together. Chintamani prakara sadma sukalpa vriksha laksha vriteshu surabhira bhipalayantam Lakshmi sahasra shata sambhrama sevyamanam Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. So I will read the translation, and you can see that all the aspects of Aprakata lila that we discussed, if basically a fixed situation, is what is being shown in this verse. It's like a picture in words. I worship Govinda, that is Govinda Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So I worship Govinda, the first progenitor who is tending the cows. Now, another thing, I forgot to put it in the slides, is that Aprakata lila is in what? Present tense or past tense? Present, isn't it? It's happening all the time. Nothing is past tense about it. That is why there is the difference between that two categories that I showed. Putana pastime, though it happened when Krishna appeared, but it is, our acharyas say that that pastime is also occurring at all times. Not that sequence of the pastime, but that particular mini sequence. Mini sequence because Krishna is playing. So there is some activity playing on the chest of Putana. So that is always occurring, therefore it is Aprakata. So here you will see it is present tense and it is like a picture in words. The first progenitor who is tending the cows, yielding all desire in abodes built with spiritual gems, surrounded by millions of kalpavriksha, purpose trees, always served with great reverence and affection by hundreds of thousands of Lakshmis or Gopis. So you get a sense? You can kind of make a picture from this verse. Yeah. Next. Venum Kvanantam Aravinda Dalayatacham Barhavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is adept in playing on his flute, with blooming eyes like lotus petals, with head bedecked with peacock's feather, with the figure of beauty tinged with the hue of blue clouds, and his unique loveliness charming millions of cupids. So again, Aprakata lila. Last one. Alola Chandrakala Sadvana Malya Vamshi Ratnangadam Pranaya Keli Kala Vilasam Shyamam Tribhanga Lalitam Niyata Prakasham Govindamadi Purusham Bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, round whose neck is swinging a garland of flowers beautified with the moon locket, whose two hands are adorned with the flute and jeweled ornaments, who always revels in pastimes of love, whose graceful threefold bending form of Shyam Sundar is eternally manifest. So that is Aprakata lila. So 3 examples we discussed. Yes, you have a question?
Oh, yeah. So I have two questions. One question is, for example, the picture behind us of Mother Yashoda. This is also happening right now as Aprakata lila.
I don't know. So picture that is being pointed to here is where Mother Yashoda is peeking into the mouth of Sri Krishna after he ate dirt. Okay, and then the boys went and complained, and Mother Yashoda went and looked into his mouth, and she saw the whole universe. So there are specific examples given by our acharyas of Prakata lilas, specific aspects, which are called as Aprakata, Swa Rasiki Aprakat, for our relishment, for devotees' relishment. So I don't know if that specific one is there. I have given you the examples which are clearly called out as Aprakat among the ones that are part of the Prakat. So what are Prakat Leelas? So we discussed Aprakat, right? Clear? Somewhat clear. Again, these are very deep topics. I am also sharing what I have understood, but the goal is to relish it. Prakat Leelas, so though transcendental, so they are not material, but the Leelas are mixed with material people and objects. Krishna and his eternal associates are still eternal. They don't become material, but there are other objects. In these other Leelas, the Aprakat Leela examples that we saw, the everything is transcendental in that. So here it is mixed with material people and objects. That is point number one. It has a beginning and an end, like Krishna's birth and disappearance. Okay. Movement of Sri Krishna occurs across time and space. So therefore, in Aprakat Leela, there is separation. When he goes from one place to point A to point B, the devotees in point A feel separation, and in point B feel union. When he goes from B to A, it is the opposite. So like that, it happens. And all this is enacted. Who is enacting all this? Is his Swarupa Shakti, or his internal potency. And almost all the pastimes in Canto 10 are in this category of Prakat Leela. Okay. Fine. Now we will introduce one more terminology. So Prakat and Aprakat is clear. One more terminology is Prakash forms of Sri Krishna. Okay. So I remember 1.5 years back, Hariparshad Prabhu had given a class on this, Prakash forms. So, but anyway, we'll go into some details and refresh. So what is a Prakash form? So when Krishna feels, so again, the context is of this whole discussion is separation and union. Why we discussed Prakat and Aprakat? In Prakat, there is separation. In Aprakat, there is no separation. Correct? So, and we also discussed why there is separation for the reason of relishment. Now, another aspect that one can think of is, for example, in the case of Ras Leela, there are unlimited number of gopis, and Krishna is dancing. Now we know that he's dancing with all of them, right? But let's say you did not know that. Then you might feel that if he's dancing with one gopi, then the others are feeling separation. That could be, again, it's all connected to separation and union. So if that question comes up, that's the reason we are discussing this concept. All right. So Prakash forms of Sri Krishna. What is a Prakash form? A Prakash form is a single manifestation of the form of Sri Krishna. I should have written that. Form of, not of Sri Krishna, but form. So is a single manifestation. In either Prakat or Aprakat, there are infinite Prakash forms in Prakat as well as in Aprakata. Manifest and unmanifest. All right. So what happens? Gopis experience separation with only a specific Prakash of Sri Krishna. So when that specific Prakash of Sri Krishna leaves Vrindavan and goes to Dwarka, the Gopis feel separation from that specific Prakash of Sri Krishna. Who chooses to manifest multiple Prakashas? Sri Krishna. So in the Ras Lila, Sri Krishna chose to manifest his multiple Prakash forms, and therefore all the gopis were happy or satisfied. And out of his Swarupa Shakti, out of his will, he desired that way for the pleasure of the gopis. Also, the separation was also for their pleasure as well. So we'll come to this other aspect of how the various Prakash forms manifest and unmanifest. Okay. Ultimately, so there were, let's say, 1,000,000 gopis. So how many Prakash forms of Sri Krishna were there? 1,000,000. But Mother Yashoda, when she is, trying to feed Krishna in his mouth, Are, you must be so tired. You have tended the cows all day. Let me feed you. How many Krishnas is she feeding? One only, not 1,000,000. That would be too much for her to feed 1,000,000 Krishnas. So what happens in the daytime? How he becomes one? Night, when Ras Leela happens, how he becomes 1,000,000? So that question can come. So anyway, when Krishna left Vrindavan, one Prakash form left. It's not like 999,999 were left behind in Vrindavan. And Gopis said, no problem, one can go. I have 999,000 here. So no need for lamentation. No need to lament. One can think like that. So are you getting the points? The sort of the arguments and the explanation, the possible arguments and the explanations. So these various Prakash forms of Sri Krishna manifest by the Swarupa Shakti of Sri Krishna. And this separation, not the Prakash forms, I should have made this a sub-bullet. The separation with this specific Prakash form of Sri Krishna is only within Prakat Lila. In Aprakat Lila, always there is union. Okay? Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Aprakat Lila, by the nature of its eternal or continuous presence, there is no separation. So, Ras Lila is one example, but this whole concept of Prakash forms is brought out very strongly in the Srimad Bhagavatam in the 69th chapter. Not in the Ras Leela chapter, that's not the purpose. The purpose of Ras Leela chapter is to go into the sweet, loving dealings of Sri Krishna and the gopis, not to spotlight or throw the sort of the, light on this Prakash aspect. But the purpose of 69th chapter is only that. So what happens? This chapter is titled The Visit of Narad Muni to Dwarka. And in Dwarka, Krishna is getting married to 16,000 queens after the killing of Narkasur. And this is so bewildering to Narad Muni. Narad Muni is like he has all the mystic powers, but this is so bewildering to him that he gets like perplexed, confused. What is happening? And there's a specific reason for that. So Krishna manifested into 16,000 Prakash forms. So now we have a specific number also. Here you will see Dvi Ashta Sahasram. Here you see this in the third line. Griheshu means in that mantap, whatever, Kalyan Mantap or whatever, that mandap where the marriage happens. How many were there? Dvi Ashta means 16 times 2, 8 times 2 is 16, Sahasram, 1,000. So 16,000 such locations were there. So we can recite this verse, very nice verse. And this chapter is full of this Siddhanta or understanding of the multiple manifestations of Prakash forms of Sri Krishna. Chitram bataitadekena vapusha yugapat prithak griheshu dvashta sahasram striya eka udavahat. So, simultaneously, striya eka, he was simultaneously marrying the striyas, the queens in the. So I have taken the translation of the first and second verse because that's how the translation done by the disciples of Prabhupada. 69th chapter was not done by Prabhupada, it was done by his disciples. And they merged it, so to say, within the, it was not like it's a full, like several verses were translated as one paragraph. So I took that whole para. The bold part is the one that is applying to second verse. So the first verse also is included. Hearing that Lord Krishna had killed Narkasur and had alone married many brides, Narad desired to see the Lord in this situation. So he wanted to see the marriage ceremony of Sri Krishna. He thought it is quite amazing that in a single body, he thought single body, he was not aware of this Prakash, multiple Prakash concept. So how is this happening? He wanted to see, is he going from one mandap, then it would take a long time, that marriage would take, several months maybe. So simultaneously married 16,000 women, each in a separate palace. Thus the sage of the demigods eagerly, the third verse starts with Utsukam. Utsuk, he was very utsuk. How is this happening, Like a magician comes to town and everybody is very utsuk or eager to see. So he went to Dwarka to see how Krishna was getting married. So he saw the marriage and then he was bewildered. He was completely confused. What is going on? And he stayed there. He was not able to figure it out. So he stayed there for some time. And after the marriage, he saw more things. So we will see. So this whole chapter is given for us to understand and relish this concept of Prakash forms. So Krishna manifests the Prakash forms by his own will to nourish the rasa of exchanges between himself and his devotees. Okay, so in the Ras Lila, for example, Krishna did not want to bring up the topic of separation, that only one gopi is feeling union or some are feeling union, some are, no, it's all union. That the sense of that chapter is about union, no separation. And since there are so many gopis, there were so many Prakash forms. And that shows us that there is no limit. One can also think, that is one of the questions that comes up in Raghavatma Chandrika, which is a very important text by Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He asks, what is the limit of Krishna's reciprocation with devotees? One can imagine, no? There are so many living entities in the whole, all the universes put together. I am doing my little sadhana. It's a valid question. So all this is connected to our sadhana. It's not just some, mythical theory we are talking. This question can come, right? I am doing my sadhana. There are so many more advanced devotees. Apna kya chance hai? Yeah, what's the more rasic way to say it? Apna kya? Mera number kab aayega hai? And especially the question that is asked is, who has more capacity? Srimati Radha to love Krishna or Krishna to receive that love of Radha? Who is more? Tell me. Huh? No. It's a very straightforward answer. Huh? Radha Rani's capacity to love Krishna is much more then this is how at least Gaudiya Vaishnavas, they look at it like this, that Radharani's capacity to love Krishna is way more than Krishna to receive it. That is why he could not understand how somebody can have so much love that I, Bhagavan, also cannot understand. And that's why he appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to understand that how it is even possible. So then the question becomes that, okay, Krishna has maxed out. He's maxed out simply by Sri Radha's love. Okay, what to speak of so many other advanced devotees? Apna number kab aayega? If he cannot, so to say, fully receive Sri Radha's love, we are trying to offer our little love. Will he even notice? And if he wouldn't notice, what's the point of doing any sadhana? It comes down to that very fundamental point in our life. Why do sadhana? Why do your japa? Why do kirtan? If Krishna is not even listening. So the understanding here is that Krishna, yes, he can listen to unlimited number of devotees. And that is, again, achintya, anadi achintya. Everything is explained. So anyway, so to nourish the rasa of his loving exchanges with his devotees. And separate activities progress simultaneously. So 16,000 palaces, simultaneously the marriage is happening at the same time, which means Krishna has basically manifested into 16,000 Prakash forms. And not only that, he waits. Okay, maybe he's like looking at some mirror image. So it's not a mirror image. Mirror image, even Mayavis can manifest mirror image. But what does a mirror image mean? If you lift your hand, mirror image will also lift the hand. There is no difference. That's a mirror image. So it can be an illusion. So even Ravana and Indrajit, they all could do illusions, but they were only thing they could create was this mirror image. But there is this whole slew of activities, very beautiful section. We can go through it maybe a little bit. It's already 6:11. Yeah, so you can go through it. Let's see, we can so I'm going to Veda base, Bhagavatam, Canto 10, chapter 69. Some of these chapters are very, very important, but not discussed much, especially in the Dwarka Lila. Is lot of beautiful points are present to understand. So Narad Muni visits Lord Krishna's palaces in Dwarka. So this second verse, as you can see here, 1 to 6 was combined. And this is where we saw that Lord Krishna simultaneously married 16,000 women, each in a separate palace. That's what we read. Let me share so that other devotees can also see. Okay, I hope you can see the Veda base now. So from 20, okay. So he's beginning to understand what is going on. So he then entered the palace of another of Lord Krishna's wives, my dear king. He was eager to witness the spiritual potency possessed by the master of all masters of mystic power. So the purpose is not to relish here. Narad Muni is trying to understand what is going on. Okay. So he went to all these places. There he saw Lord playing dice with his beloved consort and his friend Uddhava. So he was playing that game, what is called Chaucer or something like that. And then Krishna sees him and welcomes him. Okay. And then after some time he wanted to go. So even though Krishna was trying to welcome him, wo khisak liye. तो जो है चुपचाप जो है पतली गली से खिसक लिए. Then he went to another place. There he saw Krishna was engaged as an affectionate father petting his small children. Then at another place, Krishna was preparing to take his bath. Like this, it keeps going on. One place, he was offering oblations into the fire. He was observing rituals for worship. And he was riding on horses, elephants, and chariots. He was consulting with his royal ministers like Uddhava. He was enjoying water. All this thing, it goes on till 36. Somewhere the Lord was moving about in disguise among the homes of ministers and other citizens in order to understand what each of them was thinking, like a king, trying to keep the administration in proper order. All this. And then the point is, having thus seen this display of Lord's Yogamaya, Narad mildly laughed and then addressed Lord Rishikesha, who was adopting the behavior of a human being. So even though he looked like a human being, there is this aspect of mysticism. Now we understand your mystic potencies, which are difficult to comprehend even for great mystics. And he himself is a great mystic. Narad is no small person. If he is bewildered, it's like, if I give a simple math problem to a national math Olympiad person, he will solve it easily. What's the big deal? If he is bewildered by it, I cannot even understand the problem, then it means the problem is hard. Okay. So Narad Muni is saying, what is going on? So there must be something very bewildering. And only by serving your lotus feet have I been able to perceive your powers. So this is the power of the manifesting of the Prakash forms. Okay. So coming back to the presentation. So Prakash forms. So that's what I've mentioned here. Somewhere he was playing, somewhere he was consulting with his ministers, etc., etc. And it is beyond the comprehension of even Narad Muni. And even his associates manifest multiple Prakash forms, not just Sri Krishna. Not in the Srimad Bhagavatam, but elsewhere, Sridhar Swami comments that Narad Muni saw Mother Devaki also in multiple palaces. Okay. Yeah. In all the, yeah. So Sridhar Swami mentions that even the associates manifest multiple Prakash forms. Now comes so again, the question can be, again, why am I saying all this? The question can be, why 16,000 of Prakash forms, 15,900 can remain in Vrindavan, one can go to Mathura or whatever, something. Why all that? Why the separation? So what happens is that after completion, so this is the unification of the Prakash forms. After the completion of a specific pastime in a specific Prakash form, okay, the Prakash form is withdrawn by Krishna based on his Yogamaya Shakti and merges into another Prakash form. All right. And this happens in the next chapter, that the Lord, where in the 17th verse, 70th chapter, 17th verse. So this whole second half of 10th canto is very important. So much relishment as well as understanding of who is Sri Krishna, why he does certain things is present. So it says that the 17th verses, there's not much in the verse, okay? The verse is all it is saying, the Lord, attended by all the Vrishnis, would enter the Sudharma assembly hall, which protects those who enter it from the 6 waves of material life, dear king. Okay, so there is one, basically one, you can think of it like the government building, right? But Krishna is present in the 16,000 palaces. That is the private residence of Sri Krishna with the queens. But in the morning, he gets up and, gets ready, dresses up like a king, and is going to the Capitol building as the king of Dwarka. Not the king, but the prince of Dwarka. King is Ugrasen Maharaj, but he's virtually the king. So he's going there. Now, how many Krishnas came out of the palaces? 16,000. Now, how many go into the main building? 1. So what happened, bhai? 16,000 come out, and finally in the Capitol building is only 1. You don't have 16,000 Capitol buildings. So how did they all become 1? So Sridhar Swami, so this is taken from the purport of our Srimad Bhagavatam, the BBT edition, but the devotees are commenting like this. In this regard, Sridhar Swami and Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explain that when Lord Krishna would exit separately from each of his many palaces, each individual form would be visible to the person present on those particular palace grounds, to the neighboring residents, but not to others. So within that palace, you would see my Krishna, not my Krishna, the Krishna is going. Other palace will see their Prakash form and so on. Then at the gateway path of the Sudharma Assembly Hall, all the forms of the Lord would merge into a single form, and thus he would enter the hall. Sridhar Swami is saying, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying. So this is, Patthar ki lakir. Proper Siddhanta is there. Okay. So this is how Prakash forms unite into one, or manifest and unmanifest also. So this was the unification or the unmanifestation, right? 16,000 mein 15,999 got unmanifested or merged, and 1 was left. Similarly, the manifestation also happens, that one from the other. There is no such verse, but in the evening when he leaves the Capitol building, 1 comes out, and then 16,000 manifest from that, and they all go to their individual palaces, to their individual queens. Okay. So there is this Prakash forms. But the point is that so the next slide should have been first. Gopis, let me share. But Gopis still feel separation from Sri Krishna, isn't it? Now, if Krishna wanted the various queens to feel separation, he could have just kept himself as one Prakash form. And only one queen would have felt the union. 15,999 might have felt separation on that particular night. Right? But he did not choose that. So it is all dependent on Krishna's Swarupa Shakti, what he desires, again, for nourishing the rasa. So in this case of separation with the gopis, he chose to experience and to let the gopis experience the separation. That was his desire, and also the gopis' desire. And that reason is mentioned here in the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is in the 33rd chapter of the Bhagavatam. Again, I forgot to put references here. So let's recite this verse. This is also Anushtup, standard meter. Lead follow. Yatvaham bhavati nanvai dure varte priyo drisham manasah sannikarshartham mad anudhyanakam yaya. But the actual reason why I, the beloved object of your sight, have stayed away from you is that I wanted to intensify your meditation upon me and thus draw your minds closer to me. So there is a very deep siddhanta or topic here. This is where we started off, union and separation. That separation intensifies the hankering. Same thing Narad Muni also heard in the first canto. Separation intensifies the hankering, which induces that hankering induces, when there is hankering, what is there? Absorption. So separation induces deep absorption. And this was not just like, okay, I want you to feel the suffering of separation. No, both Krishna and the Gopis wanted this. That is the understanding. Okay. And there's another very sweet point here, very, very sweet point, which is the next slide. And this is why you might be wondering, what is the connection? So we understood the connection of Prakash form, why he could not leave one Prakash form in Vrindavan, another Prakash form in Dwarka, or whatever, any number, 16,000 Prakash form. एक तो छोड़ देते वृंदावन के लिए, भाई इतने सारे हैं. You have millions of dollars. Give me at least $1 ना, क्या चला जाएगा? That's how one could think. It doesn't cost Krishna anything to manifest one more Prakash form. It's all out of his sweet will. So we understand the meaning here. Why? A deeper meaning is there. So Prakash form relevance we understood. Why Prakat and Aprakat? What is the relevance of that? It has a very deep relevance to this topic. Okay. So in the Aprakat lila, as we discussed, recall from whatever 1 hour ago, in the Aprakat lila, Krishna is always united with the Gopis in one of the specific Prakash forms. Always. In another Prakash form, he is united with the Gopas. In another Prakash form, he is united with, some other Gopis. In one Gopi, he could be united with Srimati Radharani and her group. In another Prakash form, he would be united with Chandravali and her group, and with Mother Yashoda, and so many different Prakash forms. But in Aprakat, there is constant union. So it's always united with whichever Gopi is feeling the separation. There is a Prakash form in the Aprakat Leela in which there is union. Agreed? Yes? By meditating, that's why it is called Mantra Upasanamayi. Mantra is where? What is the meaning of Manah Trayate iti mantra? तो मनः त्रायते, जहां पे मन फोकस किया जाता है. तो मंत्र कहां होता है? माइंड में, है ना? तो बाय मेडिटेटिंग on that particular Prakash form of Sri Krishna, one can access that Prakash form, or one can access Sri Krishna in the mind. But that meditation has to be very deep meditation. It has to be meditation, and that the highest level of that smaran is called what? Samadhi. We have discussed that in detail in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. So that topics are important to understand these deep topics of Bhagavatam and to understand this whole, otherwise, again, devotees may feel Krishna is heartless. Why did he? There's so much, anytime you somebody gives class, that all is okay. But why did Krishna leave the gopis? बाकी सब तो ठीक है, but ये बताइए, why? So कई लोगों की जो सुई है वो वहीं अटकी होती है. They cannot get past that hurdle. So this is important to understand and get past the hurdle. And it is good. मेरी सुई भी अटकी हुई थी. But the problem is that one does not then make the next step of efforts or steps of effort to figure it out. So if your needle is really stuck and you really want to make it unstuck, you put in the effort to get it unstuck. Read the various shastras, talk to advanced devotees, serve them, get the understanding from them, and then your heart will be satisfied and you will be able to focus on Sri Krishna much better. Otherwise, you are trying to focus genuinely, not lip service, but question is always there. Why did he do this? Am I on the right path? Shall I become Ram Bhakt instead? Much, all discrepancies are resolved in that university. This university is little, problematic. Should I switch my, what do you call? Apply for transfer application. These questions are very legitimate questions in people's mind. Nobody might say it, but these are questions in people's mind that come. So get it resolved. And once it is resolved, then you will see how much stronger the bhakti becomes. Then one begins to feel the sense of possessiveness, that sense of ownership. This is my Krishna. So therefore it is important. It's not just, okay, some theory, some terminology, prakata, prakash, this, that, and then, okay, fine. Just chant and be happy. But that chant and be happy, how deep is that chanting? That is very important. And for some people, resolving these points deepens the chanting. The whole point is to deepen the meditation. And that is the whole bullet here, that deep meditation all the way to samadhi. So the point is that by meditating on that particular prakash form, one can access that prakash form in the mind in samadhi. And what our acharyas say is that this internal union, now internal union is happening, right? Is more real and powerful than external union. Now, I have no experience of it, far from it, but I have hope. Wow. Because I can also access that. It is not limited to the gopis. Samadhi, that whole 5 stages of smaran. What are the 5 stages of smaran? Who can tell? Very nice. Collective team effort. Dhruvanusmriti and Samadhi. Very good. Now then, what is the meaning of each and the difference between each? Okay, that will be too much. All right. Okay. So if we do that Samadhi, till that Samadhi level, hopefully we will be able to be with Krishna in whatever prakash form we are, which appeals to us, which gives us that rasa. And there are so many rasas. 4 primary, and then mixture. There's so many, embellishments on top. But you can unite. Unite means not like conjugal union only. Don't just say unite means that. Unite means like Gopakumar. When he went to the spiritual world, this is from Brihad Bhagavatamrit. The union that he experienced with Krishna, it's like that picture is there where he's hugging just Krishna. It's just so, you feel like, when will I get that opportunity to just, embrace Krishna? So that is possible. So that internal union is more real and more powerful than external union. Just like a dream versus today we experience dream, right? When you are in the dream, doesn't it appear real? For me, 2 dreams are very real. I told, I think, in one class. One is tomorrow is exam and I don't even know the book. And I'm running from door to door. Please tell me. I find the book and then I'm running to other students. Please tell me which chapters to read. Imagine tomorrow is exam and I don't even, it's like, and then my eyes open, like, phew, thank God. That whole thing was just a dream. And second is train leaving the station. In India, you can get off the train to buy some chai, samosa, pani, whatever. So I get off. And when I turn to look back, train has left. And all my suitcase, laptop, I don't know, when I have laptop, I never traveled in train. But there was this some time when I had laptop and I was traveling in train and I would get off the train to buy some samosa, chai. So I don't know what that khichdi is, but there was hopefully that or some time, and I'm looking back, laptop also gone. All my data is there. Anyway, so and then I the eyes open, I'm like so happy. So the awake state seems more real for us, correct? Because our dreams, those dreams are not at the level of samadhi. So just like that, even when we are doing japa or some relishing some story of some katha of Bhagavatam, we relish it in that moment. But when eyes open and the real world comes, right? Then we feel that is more real. Arey, 4 baj gaye, abhi tak bachcha school se nahi aaya. Where is he? That creates more anxiety than anxiety of separation with Krishna. So this world is more real. That is because our little whatever we did, dhyan or smarana, is not at the samadhi level. But it is said that this samadhi will be more real than in this external reality. Then we'll be annoyed as to why I opened my eyes. This is so unreal. Let me go back to the actual reality, the state of samadhi. And Siddhantic reason, it's not like, yeah, one of the Rasik way is that Krishna is just pulling the legs of the Gopis. Oh, you should meditate on me. And Gopis are like, what the hell are you talking about? We don't want to meditate. That is one line of understanding, that Krishna is kind of, teasing them, and they are like getting angry on him that doesn't he understand this meditation and all is not for us. We want him. That is one. But the other angle is, this is why Krishna asks the Gopis. It's not that they don't know. So therefore, Krishna himself says to Uddhavji, Ta manaska mat prana madarthe tyakta daihikaha. So he says that the Gopis are always meditating on me, even when awake. Now, samadhi, you have to close your eyes. Typically, samadhi breaks when you open your eyes. So for us, we can relish that reality. But the Gopis are even more advanced than that, that even when their eyes are open, they are in samadhi. So they are always in samadhi. But still Krishna is advising that you should meditate on me. The point is to gain this internal union in the Aprakata lila Prakash form. So now all these words are being put into one sentence. That is the conclusion. Okay, and then one can experience that real union with Sri Krishna. Okay, so that real union is possible, and even for devotees. This is the last slide, I think. That as part of our sadhana, we can also meditate on a specific, whatever relishment, whichever one you feel connected to, you feel inspired by. But for that, first you have to do Shravan. पहले मालूम होना चाहिए ना दो चार, उसके बाद एक को select करोगे. First you should hear few pastimes, then only you will pick up the taste, or this one I like, that one I like. If you have never even gone to a particular restaurant and somebody asks you which dish you like, how will you tell? And going once also is not useful, because assuming you can eat only one dish at a time. So if you have gone 10 times to a restaurant, then you can tell, I like this one or that one, right? So you have to hear enough first. And then we can pick, we can relish, this one is so sweet. It's not like other ones are ugly, but there is that natural inclination. And the deeper we go, the more real the union with Sri Krishna will become. And don't we want to unite with Krishna? That's the whole purpose of our sadhana. One day to unite. And that union will be more real than this material world seems to appear. That is why our acharyas say, when you will experience that, you will not ask the question whether it was real, how will I know it is real? Do you ask the question after you do your japa and open your eyes that this world is real? Do you ask that? Are, is it real? No, you don't ask. In the same way, you will not ask that. It will be so obvious. So therefore, Smaran on Sri Krishna Nam, Guna, Rupa, Lila is a very, very potent limb of sadhan bhakti. And that brings us to the end of the presentation. So I hope this whole thing connects, all the points connect and give a sense that yes, it's not that we should feel the separation. It's good to feel the separation. Separation intensifies or induces very deep, strong absorption. And by doing our sadhana, especially the limb of smaran in the mind, if we do our smaran deeply, deeply with that feeling of separation, we can begin to feel the union with Sri Krishna. That is the point. And for the method of doing smarana, it's very nice if we can pick our favorite naam. Naam can also be favorite. Hariparshad Prabhuji is doing all this series on Chikshashtakam where he's talking about our Sneha Samyukta Naam. There are so many names. Naam Naam Akari Bahudha Nija Sarva Shakti. So many names are there. So we can focus on any name that of course, we must chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And then beyond that, other than Hare, Krishna or Rama, if there is any other name that we have become attached to, one can meditate on that name for some time, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes. And guna, the qualities. So Aprakata lila have so many qualities. Again, remember those like Brahma Samhita verses, they are the very classic aprakat lila, like the static picture in words. Just remember that. Picture in words is aprakat. Roop, again, very potent or connected to aprakat, roop, Krishna's. Everything is lotus. Lotus eyes, lotus mouth, lotus lips, lotus feet, lotus navel. So that is roop. And lila, of course, lila. So smaran on all these things, on our favorite ones, the ones that we are connected with, we can deepen, 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 deepen. And then we will be with Krishna in that particular roop, in that particular lila. Okay. All right. So that is the discussion. Okay. Any comments or questions on Zoom? Anything? Yeah. Yes, Prabhuji, in the room.
Prabhuji, thank you for the excellent class, for your deep analysis and teaching us. Really appreciate it. Prabhuji, on the previous slide, it said meditating on Krishna's Prakasha form in Aprakat Lila is what creates the union.
No. Even in Prakat, and also if that is, but the point is, this is for the Gopis. For Gopis in Prakat, in that Prakat Lila, they are part of the Prakat Lila, but Krishna is not present, na? Therefore, in their situation, Aprakat. Okay, for us, Krishna is not present in Prakat or Aprakat. It's, I mean, he's not, it's not like he was there and now he has gone from Portland to Seattle. That's not the case. He is never there. We are like so unfortunate. So for us, yeah, that's a good question. For us, we can meditate on any one Prakash form, whether here or there. No problem. If you like Govardhan Lila, I have not, like, who was asking somebody, other Leelas, or you are part of the, yeah, this one. If you like this Leela, then yeah, why not? Or Govardhan Leela, so many devotees like, Govardhan Leela, how Krishna is lifting the Govardhan hill and they meditate on the verses of Sri Rupa Goswami. There is this beautiful verse by Sri Rupa Goswami on Govardhan Leela that I don't remember the verse. The meaning is very sweet, that Krishna was lifting the Govardhan hill, right? And he was looking at Srimati Radharani, his most beloved. And all the other gopis, they knew that, the relationship of Sri Krishna and Srimati Radha. So they were saying, Are, he's looking at you. Abhi, he's kind of gonna lose his focus on lifting the hill. And then the whole hill will crash. So you know what? You just hide behind us. So his focus will go back on lifting the hill. He won't be like just mesmerized by looking at you. So she is very, bholi bhali, or she doesn't have too many. So she hides behind one of the gopis. I think that's the right meaning. But then Krishna, the hill begins to shake as if it will fall. And then Radharani comes back out into view, and then it becomes stable. And the reason is because Srimati Radharani is the Shakti of Krishna. So when the Shakti disappeared, then the hill began to shake. Krishna lost his Shakti. As soon as the Shakti came back, Krishna got the. So just a sweet meditation on Govardhan Leela. Right? Which verse is this from Padyavali? Maybe
267.
267. Yes, Shamlila Mataji is very, very attached to Padyavali. You should also become attached. There are about 400 beautiful verses in Padyavali. Wonderful. So you can look at verse 267, I think that's what you said. So like this, you can meditate on Sri Krishna. Okay. So Prakat, Aprakat. Any loving Prakash form, which is appealing to your heart.
So tying this to my question to Raganuga Bhakti, like Putana lila, right? There is no other. Yes, Krishna is there, but there is no other Vrindavan devotee there, right? So is it better to think of lila with Yashoda?
So the question, so better means, again, I cannot say, whatever appeals to your heart. The thing, for example, the fact that Putana was given the position of mother in the spiritual world is very, very sweet for many devotees. And in fact, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, not Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gadadhar Pandit, and who else went with him? Was it Sri Haridas Thakur or Nityananda? So he went to Sri Pundarik Vidyanidhi, whom he thought was a materialistic person. He's great devotee. He's, incarnation of none other than Vrishabhanu Maharaj, the mother of Srimati Radharani. Father, sorry. So anyway, when Gadadhar Pandit went there, he could see Pundarik Vidyanidhi just listening to a concert and dressed very nicely and wore all the expensive clothes. It's not looking like a devotee. Devotee should be in rags and should not be listening to a concert, but should be listening to Bhagavatam. So then I think, I don't remember who went with him. Maybe somebody can tell me. Huh? Mukunda. So this devotee recited a verse from Bhagavatam, and that was this verse from Putana pastime, that Krishna killed Putana and she gave him the position of mother. And just on hearing that one verse, Pundarik Vidyanidhi became mad. Who is singing this verse? Oh my God, he went into ecstasy. He fainted. He started rolling on the ground. All these ecstatic symptoms came into him. Uncontrolled ecstatic symptoms. And then Gadadhar Pandit understood, oh, I was thinking wrong, that he is a materialistic person. Just from one verse of Bhagavatam, he got into ecstasy. He's such a great devotee. Okay. Yes, Aho Bakiyam. Hmm. And Putana, one of them was Aho Bakiyam. So yes, just like coincidentally, you brought up Putana pastime. It's heavily relished by devotees. Again, we have to understand. We think, "Arey, demon killed a demon. We want more Ras Lila, Govardhan Lila, Damodar Lila." Yeah, yeah. But in every demon there is like that. Aghasur also. Even Shishupal, one can think how, we have discussed Shishupal so deeply. The whole Raganuga, you brought up the question of Raganuga Bhakti. Actually, it's again coincidentally, the whole discussion of Raganuga Bhakti in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu starts from which pastime? Tell me. Shishupal. Okay. So, yeah, it doesn't just have to be Ras Lila. All pastimes are, we have to find the relishment. We have to find the relishment in the pastimes. All pastimes of Krishna are relishable. It's our problem if we don't, not our problem, it's our misfortune or our limited, whatever, or somebody has not explained it that way. Then we will, once somebody explains it or we put in the effort, we search for the sweetness, it is there. We have to know that it is there, not even assume. That conviction need to be there. How can a Krishna's pastime not be sweet? There has to be some sweetness in it. That is like saying you have a massive body physics-wise, again, I'm physics person, and no gravitational pull. No, it is not possible. It is a universal law of gravitation. It applies at all places at all times. At least that's what physics says. We have to find it. That's what they're saying, the galaxies are not moving at the right speed. Then dark matter. Gravitation has to apply. Now we just have to find the matter, where it is, which is causing it to rotate at a different speed. The assumption is that it is there because gravity is there. So if Krishna Lila is there, sweetness is there. It is just dark matter. We have not found it. If you find it, you will get Nobel Prize. So it is our job to find the sweetness, not to question whether sweetness is there or not.
Is it okay to say then, like for my case, that all the demons, they are way more fortunate than me because they get to association of Krishna?
Yes. But we should not aim to become a demon. That again is that's the whole discussion of Shishupal. Okay. So it's not something I can answer in a Q&A. Very deep question. What is the position of demons? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Anything else on the Zoom? All right. Granthraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you for being there late.
No problem. Prabhuji, sorry, in some books it is 268. In Rena Ji's book, it is 267.
Yeah, there is some always little bit up and down, plus minus 1 or 2 in the numbering. So yes, thank you, Mataji. Yes, thank you for
Thank
sharing.
you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Panchang pranams.
Thank you. I appreciate your relishment of Padyavali.
No, all thanks to you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Panchang pranams, Prabhuji. Panchang pranams, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you,
Thank you so
Prabhuji.
much.
Hare Krishna.